Introduction to electrochemistry. Atoms are made of the positive nucleus surrounded by the negative electrons. An ion is what happens when we lose or gain electrons. If you lose this electron, you end up becoming positive because all you have left is the positive nucleus. All metals form positive ions, as does hydrogen. If you gain an electron, electrons have a negative charge, you end up forming a negative ion. Chlorine and the other halogens form negative ions. Some polyatomic, meaning more than one atom, ions such as sulfate also form negative ions. Now, what we can do, because with an ionic substance, is we can split them apart using electricity, and that is called electrolysis. In order to perform electrolysis, you need an electrolysis cell, which consists of 2 electrodes and an electrolyte. Your electrolyte must be an ionic substance, and it must be in the liquid state. So you can either melt it, but that takes a lot of energy, or you can dissolve it in water, which is what is usually done. Then you have your 2 electrodes through which you pass an electrical current. And the 2 electrodes have different names. The positively charged electrode is called the anode. The negatively charged electrode is called the cathode. If you are having trouble remembering which one is which, don't panic, because the positive anode, negative is cathode. So remember, don't panic. Now, opposites attract. So we have our negative electrons, for example, sodium, hydrogen. They are going to be attracted to our positive or negative electrode, which is the cathode. So if positive ions are attracted to the negative electrode, we name them based on which electrode they are attracted to. So our positive ions are attracted to the cathode, so we give them the name cations. Negative ions are attracted to our anode, so we give them the name anions. If you're having trouble remembering which ones they are, cats make you feel positive. Now, once they're attracted to our electrically charged anode or cathode, they either gain or lose electrons in order to become full atoms. And the order in which they are discharged depends on the reactivity series. The less reactive of the ions that are present is discharged and turned into an atom first. So for example, if I dissolve sodium chloride in water, I have 4 ions present. I've got my positive cations, sodium and hydrogen. I've got my negative anions, chloride and hydroxide. And the 2 positive cations will be attracted to my negative cathode, which will then give them electrons. But which one do we get? Well, let's take a look at the reactivity series. Hydrogen is here, sodium is all the way up here. If I'm putting energy in, I'm going to get my hydrogen first. So at the cathode, I have my hydrogen discharged. At the anode, The rule to remember is that if you have a halogen ion, a halide, chlorine, bromine, iodine, that is what you are going to be getting produced. So at the positive anode, it takes away those extra electrons, and that's what we end up having discharged. Don't forget, there are still two ions present, so in this particular case, we will end up with sodium hydroxide. You also need to know how to construct half equations for each of those, which we'll cover at a later time.